Yet another shocking video from inside United Talmudical Academy in Kiryas Joel. Anti-abuse activists leaking the surveillance tape showing the same office, the same man who police describe as the principal, again with a young boy between his legs, appearing to kiss him, according to some on social media. This time also giving the boy candy at the end of their encounter. Actions that have prompted a joint sex abuse investigation. However, others within the extremely religious and private Hasidic community are now defending the principal, who's also a rabbi.
You know this rabbi and you do not feel as though there's anything inappropriate in these videos.
He's not going to hurt the kids. His life is for the kids.
Joseph Waldman says the rabbi seen on tape is well known and respected within the ultra-Orthodox community for having what he calls a fatherly approach with kids.
This person is such a loving person that instead of taking out the belt and beating up the child, he'd rather give an extra kiss or an extra show of love.
It's not just...
As soon as I was able to locate the video and see it, I looked it up again and again and again, and I made many inquiries into my mind as an experienced member of this community for so many years, and as a father of many kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, very involved, and knowing a lot of the members, and knowing specifically that principle that you were talking about. So I went through it with a fine-tooth comb, and I looked it up again and again. After hearing all the reports, which the streets innuendo which goes around, and which I saw a lot of speculations going around, I came to the conclusion, not as Boris Deutsch said, or the other man who said it, because they are just for revenge. They are people who went out of the schools, who went out of our communities, and in every opportunity they have, they're trying to black our eyes in the secular world.
It's not an uncommon issue for teachers to sort of be navigating how much physical contact is okay, what's acceptable, what crosses lines, because you don't know what a child brings to the table in terms of their own history with regard to touch and boundaries. And what I was thinking is important to communicate is, okay, we don't know what happened in that situation, but what can parents do? Have conversations with their children so that they can effectively communicate about what's going on with them if they feel uncomfortable with physical touch or someone sort of overstepping a boundary. And for parents to be really open, if your child does come to you, listen, make them feel comfortable and secure having the conversation, and then follow up and be relentless in following up if you think that there's something going on that isn't appropriate.
Okay. All right, you saw the first video, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now here's the second video.
Can I get a copy of this?
Sure, yeah, I'll forward it to you. I spoke with Bori Dutch, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, the whistleblower on all of this originally. And he said at the end of this video, it looks as though the rabbi puts his hand down the boy's pants.
That's what you say, or that's what Boris said?
That's what Bori is saying.
That's what Boris is saying.
I looked at it. I mean, it appears to be inappropriate closeness, certainly, but I don't see him specifically touching the boy's genitals, or I don't see the boy touching his genitals.
Sure.
Definitely is questionable with the closeness.
So from whom did you get it? Did they tell you who it was?
Yeah, it's someone from within the Hasidic community.
A teacher.
A concerned member of the community. Staff members reportedly leaked it from inside the school, and they've reportedly been fired. He gets closer to the boy. This one's a 3-minute video, so it's almost over now. And he gives him candy, and this is where Bori says to look.
Is this Mr. Feldbaum you're talking about, right?
Klein.
No, a bit Feldbaum, the teacher who gave you the clip.
Oh, I can't release who specifically gave me the information.
Mm-hmm. Did the DA look at it already?
This one, I don't know. I don't know if
The other one, did they?
That one they have.
They did have.
Yeah,
it.
well, that's what's prompted the sex abuse investigation.
And did they clear him?
Not yet. It's just under investigation as of yesterday.
How long did the DA get it?
Who knows how long it'll take them. They reportedly got a complaint.
Blaise, I'd like to do the interview over here, so I'm not shooting the window.
Sure.
Is that possible? Do you mind sitting?
Yeah, I could do it.
Swap sides. So that's it now, and then the boy leaves.
Okay, do me a favor.
Yep.
You have WhatsApp?
I do. I'll forward it to you.
Forward it to me.
Joseph, what's your specific role in the community? What can I, for how can I identify you?
Just as a
activist,
long time member of the community, which I was for many years. I was a distant leader in the community.
Just gonna mic you up real quick.
Okay.
Do you have an inside pocket?
Yes.
Thank you
So,
so much.
longtime leader and activist?
Yes.
So, Joseph, what I'll ask for him, just make sure we don't say that wire.
You got it, yeah.
What I'll ask you first is if you could just talk to us about the videos. So, if you can give us your thoughts, about the videos, and then we'll go from there. Any concerns or you may have?
Well, I got concerned when I found out there was a video, and I was very anxious to find it and see it. So as soon as I was able to locate the video and see it, I looked it up again and again and again, and I made many inquiries into my mind as an experienced member of this community for so many years, and as a father of many kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, very involved, and knowing a lot of the members, and knowing specifically that principle that you were talking about. So I went through it with a fine-tooth comb, and I looked at it again and again. After hearing all the reports, which the streets innuendo which goes around, and which I saw a lot of speculations going around, I came to the conclusion, not as Boris Deutsch said, or the other man who said it, because they are just for revenge. They are people who went out of the schools, who went out of our communities, and in every opportunity they have, they're trying to black our eyes in the secular world. And so I disregarded what said. I did hear what they said. I did exactly hear and look through every details of the film and every details of the story.
So you feel as though the interaction between the rabbi and the students is appropriate?
Well, see, let me tell you something. When I grew up, and my kids grew up, when a kid was in a situation that they had done something bad, what used to be done is they used to take us into the principal, and the principal took out a good stick and gave us a lesson that this will never happen again. And this was one of the lessons. The other lesson was expelling the students for a week, a few days, or having the parents come down.
What's a good stick?
A stick. They used to have a belt to like corporal punishment.
But you do understand that that's not appropriate.
But this has been done away a long time ago, and they realized that this going in a positive manner is more effective.
So you feel as
Than
though
going.
this
So
rabbi
what
has
this
a
rabbi
fatherly approach to his teaching?
So this rabbi, as I know for many years, that this school will not do harm to my kids.
Are you comfortable with his interaction with the children you've seen in the
So
video?
now I want to come to that particular point. The particular point which I have asked many around in the school, I contact many teachers in that school. I contact many parents, many students who already graduated and got married, discussing his kind of behavior. All explained to me that this person is such a loving person that instead of taking out the belt and beating up the child, he'd rather give an extra kiss or an extra show of love to feel that the kid, that he's not there as an enemy of the kid. He's there as a friendly, responsible parents who want the kid to behave. What
about the child in the first video who appears to be very uncomfortable being in that close proximity and tries to pull away multiple times?
It's probably
Do you think
true.
That's appropriate?
It's probably true that the kid has been uncomfortable, but when the teacher, the kids took out a belt and beat him up, they were a lot worse comfortable. It was very uncomfortable. Of course, when I take my kids and I take them to me and I start to give them an earful of what they did, how bad they did, of course they're going to be uncomfortable listening to that. This is not unusual when a kid is very uncomfortable listening again and again, tell them, you beat up that kid, you ruined the kid's life, and you ruined your parents. Your parents are going to be sorry. Of course the kid is going to try to shy away because it's uncomfortable. None of the places that I saw which in this time of world, it's very, very obvious when somebody is doing something bad, what their hands movements are and what their body movements are. None of that was in there.
So you don't feel as though it's sexually driven whatsoever?
Absolutely not. I feel that this person deserves credit. Under his authority, they don't beat up the kids anymore. It used to be they used to beat up every day kids more again and again for everything they did bad, and that's how they tried to straighten out the kids. But by going in that direction that this rabbi is doing, we have a very good future that none of the kids are going to be traumatized from these beatings and this abuse. Rather, the kids will always remember that this teacher loved him even though he did bad things. And he did it to him in a nice way. After explaining to him and warning him time again for 10,
So
15
in no
minutes.
way do you feel it's inappropriate to have a child between your legs, to be kissing them when they don't want to be kissed?
The
I mean, there are personal boundaries.
the only time that I feel a thing which is inappropriate is when you do something with that closeness. But if you do in the right thing, the closeness, like you are talking into his heart, explaining to him the worst thing which could happen to his family by his behavior, and showing him an affection and showing him love by giving. I don't know for sure if he really kissed him or not. But even though if he would have kissed him, this is not an inappropriate thing for a person who has a history, and people will witness all the kids who grow up. There's thousands of kids that graduated under him. All will tell you that this person is a loving person, and he never ever that any of the thousands of kids. I am between the people. I have a lot of WhatsApp groups. I have a lot of people involved. I'm a very social media type.
And we want to hear both sides. So it's, if there are people that feel as though that this is
the question is, if the question is if the media is trying to jump to conclusion by listening to someone who was have an agenda against us, has an agenda against the Hasidim, like Boris Deitch and the other one. Do you have a responsibility to place the stories on both sides? Boris Deitch was in this community, and never was in the village of KJ, and nothing to do with the village of KJ. My kids will graduate from this rabbi. And I have all my kids and my grandkids. I have already 50 grandkids. And I have all the families which are surrounding to the community. And let me tell you something, I'm not a foe of this rabbi. I fought against him in the courts. I won a conviction against this rabbi. And I'm not a foe of him. But when he's right, you have to give them the credit. Here is 100% right. The teachers, 99% of the teachers admire this principle. Of course, I could tell you in my own feeling and my own investigations that there was a rabbi who was troubled, and as in all the secular schools, when there's a teacher the principal has a problem with, and the principal wants to get rid of him, that teacher will have an agenda against the principal to try to tear him down whatever he could.
So you feel as though he's being targeted?
I feel
being targeted in his act.
Definitely he is being targeted. This person who put on this video had an agenda. It didn't have any interest for the children. Absolutely not. Because if it would have had an agenda, it wouldn't have an agenda. The first thing, if I would be in his place, I would go immediately with the film to the rabbi. There is a responsible rabbi here. Responsible principals and principal alumni and responsible authorization in the community who are worrying about these things. I would have done that, going to those responsible and showing this film. Look, as soon as I put a hands on such a films, I would immediately go over to the rabbi and go to the head principals.
They're claiming that they did go to within, the secular community, and that they felt as though it was swept under the rug within the religious community.
Well, then because number one, the way I understood it, the way I found out, this is not true. I did not go first to the rabbinical, to the religious community to alert them. This is not true. I verified that. This is not true. Number two, if the religious communities understand and they saw, which I believe I saw, and they realized, and the history of this person, of this principal, and by investigating their side, came out that this was nothing wrong, he should have shut his mouth out and say, maybe I was wrong.
So again, you know this rabbi, and you do not feel as though there's anything inappropriate in these videos.
I know this rabbi for 50 years. I know him personally. I know his parents, his in-laws. I know his wife. I know his kids. I have kids who went to the school under his authority. There is no way in the world that this person, to be other than he is, a respectful person.
Okay. Thank you. I'm glad we met with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I'm
you.
just going to get one rehearsal. Yeah. Good. You don't mind?
So, I mean, it certainly is very interesting, you know, and I'm glad that we were at least able to, you know, share that part of the story because, I mean, it could be valid. We don't know. We have to let authorities be the judge.
Your job is to air every side.
That's right.
If
And
you're airing every side,
right,
then you're doing the right thing.
of course.
The
A
only
lot of us
concern
aren't
that
getting anyone to talk with us, so it's wonderful. You know, we wouldn't have that opportunity to share this side if you weren't willing to speak with us.
okay, so that's the reason.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason. When you called me, I changed my mind and I said, yes, I will speak to you.
Great.
I'm out of politics. I'm in business, and I'm not in politics, but I am involved. I am involved. I have everyday people coming to me for issues. I have a committee which is Committee for the Well-Being of Kiryas Joel. I don't know if you remember that. I went to the Supreme Court. I gave to the Supreme Court an amicus brief under my organization. And I'm involved every day with issues which a lot of people having and seeking out my advice and help. But I'm not going above the radar. Over here, I figured, you called me, I did not call you. You called me and I figured, I'm going to have to do it because people to be able to have a right to know both sides of the story. And I appreciate that you're giving the opportunity for the people to hear both sides rather than to smear them up and just hearing from people who's trying to take revenge of their own families and own community which they grew up because
I will always share any side of the story if someone's willing to talk with me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.